Hey everybody, it's Mark, Dr. Deadwax, and it's time for the Inbox Challenge Day 5. And today, the Inbox Challenge Day 5 is brought to you by Imperial Pumking from Southern Tier Brewery, which is located in Lakewood, New York. Now, Kevy Metal, XXX or whatever, you know, he's like the porn star. He had this beer yesterday in his video, and it's highly recommended by Wes. Now, we opened this bottle a little earlier, and my wife and I each had a glass out of it, and what can I say about it? It's very sweet. It's highly flavorful. The kind of pumpkin pie in a glass. It almost works for me. It's got a lot of sweetness, kind of whipped cream, part of it, a little bit of the crust. Once the bottle's been open and it's warmed up a little and it's breathed a little, a lot more of those flavors come out. It's a little like, to me it smelled a little bit like original Bubblicious from when I was a kid, when it was the bottle was first opened and it was a little cold. But it's a really well crafted craft beer. I can see why lots of people would like it. It's interesting. I would drink a bottle of it a year. It's not a beer I want to drink on a regular basis. And my wife felt the same way. She was like, it's really complex, interesting, but it didn't really work for us. Like, we'd both rather drink the Founder's Breakfast Stout that I had yesterday. So, Ned's Atomic Dustbin picked the numbers for today, and I believe his name is Damien. I'll get that right, and I'll get it nailed in eventually, but I believe it's Damien. And cold still here a little. 5 records, going to do all 5. Going to try and do them semi-quickly. First record up is Robert Paquette, Prends, Celui, Passe. Terrible French. French-Canadian folk artist. I had no idea what this was. Total blind buy. So I bought it because it was French-Canadian, and I thought it had the potential to be something, you know, could it be French-Canadian folk prog? Could it be French-Canadian prog? Like, I didn't quite know what it was. This cover's kind of interesting, kind of has that same feel, a little bit of those Jean-Pierre Furlands. This is on the Quebec disc. I'm not sure a lot of people have seen this one before. Let's wait for that to focus. This is on Quebec disc, like I said, KEBEC-disc, Robert Paquette. This has got SNB in the Deadwax, and that is a plant out of Quebec, mastering plant, so it kind of fits with it. What can I say about the record? Sounds really good. It's really well produced. It kind of has that really spacious, clear, well recorded, acoustic, folky, slightly rock take that early Bruce Cockburn records do. So it sounds great. It's acoustic folk. It's not for me. It's a good record. I think if I understood the lyrics, it's kind of folk is, once you get to a certain point, folk's kind of lyric driven, and so this isn't quite working for me. When it's a little bit more folk prog or prog, I can kind of just take the vocals as part of the music, but I don't know, this was not quite working for me. Of interest note here, one of the players on here, and this is from the early 70s, so it's quite cool to see him on here, is Kim Deschamps. And Kim Deschamps is he's a multi-instrumentalist, but I would say his best, the instrument he's most famous for, he's Canadian of course, is pedal steel guitar, like that guitar you play on a little table or on your lap, and probably most famous for playing on about 6 albums with Blue Rodeo, from like 5 Days in July up to, I think, On These Roads or whatever in about 2000. So anyways, it's kind of cool. I've seen Kim Deschamps with Blue Rodeo, so it's kind of cool to see his name on here. I paid $2 for this, so I mean, I'm not going to keep it. It's a good record. If if somebody wants it, let me know. But it is what it is. Next is a really interesting record. This is SCRA. This is the Southern Contemporary Rock Assembly, and the record is called The Ship Album. And it's a promo. It's got a promo stamp on it. So I paid $2 for this. This is on the standard Atlantic label. In the Deadwax is ATGP, which is Atlantic George Piros, and I've talked about him as a mastering engineer before. This is made in Canada, but these plates, obviously with those initials on it, would have been made in the States. So these are plates that would have been exported up here. So the Southern Contemporary Rock Assembly. Now you might think that's like Southern U.S., Southern Rock, but it's actually the Southern is Southern Pacific. It's musicians from Australia, and I don't know who the musicians are, but I'm sure somebody from down there would. Now it's actually a really good album. This was quite a surprise. Again, like did I ever say, it was $2. It was in good condition. I didn't know what it was. Total blind buy. How would I describe the music? The music's kind of like Lighthouse, maybe Blood, Sweat and Tears. I'm not quite sure exactly what they sound like. Kind of like pop, rockin' blues with horns. You know, that kind of Lighthouse, that kind of big, wide spectrum sound, little poppy. I really like it. I've never heard of this record before, and I think it deserves a little bit more, to be known a bit more. Our Ship is a good song. 23 Skidoo is a good song, and the best song on the album is Something Like the Feeling, which is the last song, which is 10 minutes long, and it's kind of slightly progressive too, or fusiony. Anyways, the SCRA, the Southern Contemporary Rock Assembly, the Ship album. If you see this record and it's cheap, it can sell up to like $20. It actually sells for that. But if you see this for a couple bucks, grab it and check it out. If you like Lighthouse and stuff like that, definitely check it out. And this is, I gotta say, Damien, this some good numbers here. Next is Hugh Masekela presents the exciting sounds of Africa and its people, Africa 1968. And this is on the Chisa Productions label, which was distributed by Uni, and it was part of the Uni deal. And so what it was Hugh Masekela was highly successful for Uni, and this is on the beautiful Uni label that kind of looks like a painting by Steffi Vaughan. The Chisa label was Hugh Masekela and his partner and producer. They started this label, and he was kind of given free rein to do whatever the hell he wanted on this label, so long as he kept producing the kind of records that he was producing for Uni at the time, which were quite big hits. So this was the first record they made, and there are no musical credits. So it's kind of unclear who is on this album. There's a good website online where the person who's on the website, he's very familiar with the sounds of the vocalists and some of the players, so he knows and has said who most of the musicians on the record are. You should look at, if you're interested, you should look it up. But Hugh Masekela, you know, some people have said that this is just a record he produced, but actually Hugh Masekela plays on this record, and this is amazing. This is not Hugh Masekela, you know, I Am Not Afraid. It's not that Blue Thumb masterpiece, and it's not the political Hugh Masekela songs about the miners and stuff like that. This is more like standard African songs from different parts of Africa presented as they were performed at the time. Now, people, you know, he says in the liner notes, people have this opinion of African music and that it only has one sound, but in actuality it's quite complex. And so he was presenting the sounds of Africa from different parts of Africa, and it was recorded in LA by a whole bunch of like expatriate African musicians. There was like 2 communities of expatriate African musicians that migrated, one group to London and one group to LA, and so it was recorded by the LA group where he was living at the time. So Hugh Masekela presents the exciting sounds of Africa and its people. Africa 68. Buy this record if you see it. If you like African music and you want something a little bit more traditional but still like beautiful. And this was still in shrink, and I paid $5 for it. So, and the record's near mint. Couldn't be happier. That's a keeper. That's a winner. The next is Shika, Fours and Froling, S.F.F. This is a album. It's called Symphonic Pictures. This would be German prog. I'm not sure if this would be classed as krautrock. Maybe Fred, you can chime in on the comments if you think this is krautrock or just German prog. This is on the Brain label. This is not on the green Brain. This is on like the orange Brain. This is a first pressing. There were a couple pressings put out in the same year, and this with the 60.010 is the first, and then the second has like 00060.0110, so that's the second one. This is all vocal, prog, fucking awesome. This is a great record. I bought this off of a guy on eBay. I think I paid $12 for it. This is a guy in Toronto that I've actually, I'm friends with him now through email, and I buy records off him privately, or he throws free records in when I buy stuff off him online. I bought this like a year and a half ago, and I'm just finally getting around to playing it. I kind of had forgotten I even had it, and just wonderful. Another winner, another great number. Symphonic Pictures, S.F.F. You know, if you haven't heard these guys, look on YouTube and give it a listen. And same with that Hugh Masekela. There's songs from that Hugh Masekela on YouTube, and there's songs from The Ship on YouTube. Okay, sorry, nose is a little runny. The last album, and this album is fucking incredible. This is Elvin Jones is On the Mountain with Jan Hammer and Gene Perla. And this is just unbelievably good. It's on the PM label, PM Records. Copy. It's from 1975. It's just a plain white label. It's kind of like a private label. The label still exists. Jan Hammer on keyboards, Gene Perla on bass, and of course Elvin Jones plays the drums. Now, I have some jazz drummer solo albums. I bought a collection off of a guy or the daughter of a guy who passed away, and he had been a drummer, and he collected records by jazz drummers. And I have to say, records by jazz drummers typically are a little, drummy. And it's kind of like Zeppelin, while maybe if you're a massive Zeppelin fan, you'll want to listen to those drum solos that are on some of those records over and over again, but, most of us don't. And that's what I found about a lot of jazz LPs put out by jazz drummers when they get a chance to be the headliner of their own project. You gotta say, this record is nothing like that. This is a musical type performance of jazz fusion, where the drumming is musical and it's tight and it's relevant. It's just wonderful. And then Gene Perla is a fantastic bass player, and we all know what Jan Hammer's capable of. This is like totally brilliant. And I've got to say, if you're interested in this record, and Chris Astral Traveler, Blake, WurtzDB, David Sequoia Flame, anybody who's into the kind of fusion-y side of things, there's a website for PM Music where this record is still for sale, brand new, for $15. And I highly recommend it. And you don't have to take my word for it, because this entire record is on YouTube as well. And the tracks are Thorn of a White Rose, Namua, On the Mountain, Smoke in the Sun, London Air, and Destiny. So you can look up those tracks on YouTube under Elvin Jones is On the Mountain with Jan Hammer and Gene Perla, and you can listen to those tracks, and then you can decide if you want to buy this record. I paid $10 for this record. I'm going to buy a brand new one for $15 because it's got one little fuzzy spot in it. And fantastic record. So today, Ned's numbers, 3 gems. I would say. I'd say the Hugh Masekela is definite keeper. It's an 8.5, a 9. The Symphonic Pictures by S.F.F. is just wonderful, totally my kind of prog. And the Elvin Jones, just a gem. That to me is a clear 9, almost a 10. I'll be visiting that record again for years to come. So. Thanks everybody for watching day 5, and have a great day and keep the record spinning.